Scott Foil RC Supersonic in size large, 17 pounds, 8 ounces. Hey, how's it going, everyone? GC Performance here, back with another video, and today I have for you guys a limited edition bike. This is the 2022 Scott Foil RC and their limited edition Supersonic colorway. We'll get into what that means in a second. This was a last year's model just before they changed into the current 2023, so we will talk about the differences on this bike. Absolutely beautiful color on this bike. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous frame. It was only sold as a frame, and then you can build it up as is. First and foremost, before I get into the video, I am over at Epic Cycle, so thank you so much for letting me do this video on this bike. This bike is in stock and it is available for sale. It's a size large, it's a 56. Like I said, it weighs 17 pounds, 8 ounces, and they want $9 grand for it, built up with NVs and SRAM Force in there as well. So the bike is a absolute, I like the color a lot. The Supersonic edition has always been a really cool limited edition feature that Scott has done. They make it personable, it stands out from the rest. And then also, like I said, it just adds a little bit more of a intimidating factor to it, like Scott says. But yeah, so first and foremost, this was the last year they made this Scott Foil frame. This is their HMX carbon. They never made an HMX SL on this bike. So this is the HMX. This is just a typical carbon that's on all of their Scott Foil bikes. And now in the new 2023 geometries, the Scott Foils look much more aero. So on this bike, the reason why they kind of changed it, because the people were complaining that the addict and the foil looked very similar. This just, now on the new foils, they have much more deeper aero qualities, like a longer head tube and a deeper bottom bracket and everything like that. But this is still a very great aero bike that is still very nimble. So you can use this bike. Let's say you wanted a bike that you lived somewhere mixed mountains and mixed flat roads. This was one of the bikes that we'd always recommend, as I sell Scott as well, because of the fact you're able to do so much with it. It's very versatile. You would see a lot of the pro riders in the tour riding the Scott Foil majority of the time during even some of the hill stages, because of the fact that it is still such a fast and stiff bike. What the Supersonic collection is by Scott, the Supersonic collection is like their intimidation factor. This is like just like a custom paint wave, similar to other companies. They do like helmets, glasses, shoes, everything on here. They'll make a mountain bike version, their Spark model. They'll make an addict version that does come in their nicer carbon, which is HMX SL, and then they make the Scott Foil frame. But like I said, they don't sell complete bikes, they only sell the frames. So this frame alone was $4,200, and it doesn't come with a handlebar or anything like that, but it is a custom paint job that, like I said, will stand out from the rest. It's in this gorgeous kind of turquoise aqua blue that changes fade. You have this chrome color right here in the Scott right here. You have this nice looking Scott Foil Scott frame, logo right there. But a very, very good looking bike. But there is no difference in quality. There's nothing that really changes on the bike. It's just a limited edition paint job that you can, like I said, if you're an enthusiast of Scott, you like the color, maybe your team that rides this, maybe you just like the color aqua, this will be something that you could choose from. And also, like I said, if you don't want to buy a top tier bike, you could buy this frame, kind of piece it out and get it to $9 grand, and you're getting great wheels like NV, and you're also getting a mid-tier group set like SRAM Force, which is a really, really strong quality group set. So without further ado, we're gonna get into this whole build and we'll break it down and we'll talk about everything that comes with it. So starting off with the cockpit, they're running the Scott Synchros handlebar and stem one-piece integrated cockpit. This is a full carbon fiber bar and stem combo. The good thing to these things is that they're very lightweight, they're very stiff. When you put power into them, they don't flex. Bad thing is that if you buy this bike bought as is, sometimes companies don't let you swap out stems or swap out handlebar lists, so you would have to replace this whole system, which is about $600. On the new Foil 2023s, they also did change. They got away from this hammerhead style where it has this curvature. They made it more flat. I kind of like this. This is different. This stands alone from other companies that are flat. This kind of gives it their own synchro style. It looks very good in person. And it also has underneath here a little spot where you can add a proprietary synchros mount. So if you want an out front mount for your Garmin or Wahoo, you're able to do that as well. The cables are ran internally through the handlebar, through the stem, and then down into the head tube. These bikes nowadays are very easily adjustable to go ahead and lower or raise the stem stack during your fit. You have breakaway spaces right here that these cables are ran inside of here. So if you wanted to, you're like, hey, I'm unsure of what my fit is, I want to lower my stem before I cut anything, just go ahead and pop off this cap, remove some of these spaces here, lower the stem where you want, put some spaces on top, and then you can try out the bike as is, which is a very nice feature. For the bar stem on, or for the bar tape on here, they're using a Cannondale bar tape, not my choice. And then for the group set, like I mentioned, is the SRAM Force 2x12 axis group set. Is a wireless group set that has hydraulic disc brakes on there. So you have 12 gears in the rear, 2 in the front, carbon fiber brake levers on here. exact same shifter ergonomics as the SRAM Red. SRAM Force is a great group set. I mean, all the Axis group sets are really good. You're getting the exact same functionality as a SRAM Red. The only difference between SRAM Red and SRAM Force, this being the mid tier and SRAM Red being the top tier, is just hardware. The functionality, the battery, the software, the engine, the motors, everything that makes the gear shift are all exactly the same. You change differences like the springs in the back, the carbon cages, the lighter chain rings, everything like that. The one thing that I will say, and that also other consumers have said, it does look dull for a mid-tier group set. Like it just looks like a plasticky group set, in my personal opinion. I mean, it's not bad looking by any means, but after being out for so long, people are starting to complain like, hey, you know, people will automatically usually change out the SRAM Force to put on a SRAM Red to make it look a little bit more expensive. If that makes sense. I know it sounds crazy, but it is what it is. But that's just what the feedback that I've heard, and also seeing this for so long, like it just looks like a dull gray, you know? Like I'd rather have like a SRAM Red on there or something like that. But anyways, going down to the front of the bike, we have this Supersonic colorway, which looks like, the idea behind it is it's supposed to be one solid paint job, and as you're flying through, dropping people on Strava, getting KOMs, the paint is literally coming off. The logo of the Scott is starting and then it's fading because you're going so fast. You're almost going like supersonic speeds. And but yes, that's the whole idea behind this paint job. And then also the Scott logo is right here as well. For the wheels, like I mentioned before, these are NV SES wheels on here. I believe these are not the hookless version because these look to be Continental GP 5000. Yeah, these are just regular NV wheels with a hook on there, which I love. You have Continental 5000 700 by 25C tires in there with the tube inside there. I'm a big fan of that. Bladed spokes with their own NV hub inside there. For the disc brake rotor on here, we have a 160 millimeter SRAM Force rotor with a center lock on here and a SRAM Force disc brake caliper right there. I'm trying to think, does the foil have? Yes, it does have that, okay. With the foil differences between the foil and Attic, they have these little kind of shears here to make it look a little bit more aero. You have this kind of quick drop out here as well. When you release this through axle, you pull it out a little bit, it can drop out easy access. You have this beautiful Scott foil logo going down the bottom of it. Like I said, the paint job I really do like. It's different, it looks flashy, it looks fly. For the bottom bracket on the bike itself, it is a BB86, so it is press fit inside of there. Bike companies, ever since, I'm gonna say this right now, ever since YouTube has been around, or no, YouTube is becoming more and more aware of problems with tolerances of bike companies, I haven't been noticing as much bottom bracket creaking. Maybe companies are being more aware, maybe they're putting in the proper Loctite, maybe they're putting the proper grease, whatever they need for their companies or their bike calls for. But I'm getting less and less of these issues with bikes I'm seeing happen so quickly. I still get obviously a couple of them here or there, but it's becoming less and less noticeable, whereas back in the day, it was like 1 every 5 bikes came in. So I think I'm gonna chalk that up to bicycles fixing the tolerances on there, but we'll see. On here, you do also have a spot for water bottle cage here. Water bottle cage here, we do have a logo right here that says large 56. We have RC Supersonic again. We're going supersonic speeds right here. We have a UCI logo. I actually have one of my buddies from Colombia that actually works for me, a really good friend of mine. His name is Luis. Love him to death. He thought they said Usi. The UCI, he's like, yeah, Usi, Usi. I was like, yo, that's the best way to say it. So from now on, we're gonna call it UCI Usi. So we got an Usi sticker right here. We do have a little chain catcher that's proprietary on the Scott foil, so that way if you were to shift, and let's say your SRAM front derailleur did maybe malfunction while shifting, which will probably never happen ever in your life, you do have a chain catcher there so you don't scratch up this beautiful paint job. For the crank on this bike, we do have a SRAM Force crank. It is a carbon fiber crank arm with a 4835 tooth chainring on here. This is swappable. If you did want to put on a SRAM Red chainring onto these SRAM Force crank arms, you can do that. Or if you want to remove the spider, this is power meter ready. You can put a SRAM cork power meter on here with these chainrings as well, which is always nice. We have a SRAM Force 12-speed flat top chain, and also on the back, the new and improved SRAM Force 10x33 cassette. They removed the black coating on the cassettes because they were hearing a lot of chatter and it was a little bit noisy. This is supposed to remove that noise and be a little bit more quiet. SRAM Force rear derailleur right here, SRAM Force front derailleur right here. They do have their own isolated battery packs. You can actually swap from front to rear. So if you were ever to forget to charge your battery because maybe you have too much going on in your life when you get on your bike, let's say you shift your rear derailleur a lot, but not your front, you can actually pop this battery off, swap it to the front, and you're good to go. 2 batteries for the price of 1 on a $9,000 bike. Who knew? Future of 2023 cycling is looking up. The rear wheel is exactly the same as the front. It is the NV SES disc. We have the exact same tire as well. This is a 700 by 25C GP 5000 with a tube inside there. And then the rotor is exactly the same as the front. 160 millimeter rotor on the rear, 160 millimeter rotor in front, flat mount disc brake calipers on there. This bike can take a 140 if you want to make it rear. You just have to remove this adapter. SRAM is known for coming stock on their bikes with 160. Shimano is known for having a 160 in the front, 140 in the rear to reduce some weight. We do have this little skewer right here, so if you do forget to bring your tools and you get a flat, you're able to remove your skewer from your wheel. And then this is interchangeable. You can actually pop off this tool right here and put it to the front. Also, this doubles as a T25 tool. So if you want to remove this out and make some adjustments to your stem, let's say you had a spill or a crash, or you stop at a light and you tip right over and your handlebars turn, you actually have a tool right here, a T25, that you can actually take this to your front of the stem, loosen up the bolts, and straighten out your stem to get down the ride, which is very nice. Tire clearance on this bike is about 700 by 30C tire as well. And then for here, we have a nice foil logo right here in the front. RC to let you guys know that's a race edition of the bike. We do have the integrated seat post wedge right here for its a proprietary seat post here. This is just a cap. You remove this cap, then you have the seat post wedge underneath here. You have your own Scott foil seat post proprietary again. This is full carbon fiber to make it a little bit more comfortable. Looks like we have a setback on the seat post of about 15 millimeters. And then for the saddle, they chose to do a Shimano Pro Stealth saddle. Very nice and comfortable saddles. I actually rode this thing around for 2 days. And I noticed it was pretty comfortable. The idea behind it is they're making this more wide up front here because they're noticing more and more people aren't utilizing the back of these saddles as much. They're sliding forward to get more power over the cranks. So they're making these a little bit wider so people are sitting more here. They still have the cutout here, but they're getting support on the sit bones right there, which is pretty nice. Performance, GC Performance, GCPerformanceYT.com, performance. Yes, that is it. Let me know if I talk too fast. If I do, leave a comment. I'm not gonna change. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. This is the 2022 Scott Foil RC in the limited edition Supersonic frame set. It moves so fast you can't even see it. It is supersonic. Once you see it, it's gone. You're gonna get dropped no matter what you do. It is coming with a SRAM Force 2x12 group set, NVSES wheels. Retail on this bike is $9,000 in a size large 56. Weight on it is 17 pounds, 8 ounces. It's a beautiful bike. I absolutely love it. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do this for this video. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It is time for a Freehub body sound check on these NV wheels. Give me a second while I spin this bad boy up. Supersonic speed. That is an NV hub on there. And NV does a really good job. They have that deep humming sound, more of a thocky sound, not like a ticky sound. It's more of a thocky. I like it. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for seeing this. Next video, GCPerformanceYT.com.